Evening to everyone who is tuned in and watching, and happy to have you here. Uh, I'm in the office here, so it's not the nice background that we normally have over there in our living room because Lynn's in the kitchen creating dinner for us. So I'm here now. The title of my talk tonight is August is Here. Let's find a reason to cheer. So, uh, my name is Buzz Noe. I'm one of the practitioners at the Center for Spiritual Living in Pleasant Valley. They're here in Camarillo, but I'm not Camarillo. But that's where the center is. And this is one of the things that we talk about a lot is maintaining a positive mindset in our lives, regardless of what's going on. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I'm glad that you're here to hear this message. Now, if you are watching this and hearing this right now, at this point in time, it's probably a pretty good indication that you are alive. And hey, we're alive. We're here. And if you're alive, that means you're probably a human. And you probably are aware that on planet Earth, as well as in the universe, life goes on. Now, it's happening around us, within us, outside of us, always happening every moment of time. Now, we as humans here on the planet, we don't have any immediate control over what's happening in the universe at any given time. This is something that we oftentimes are upset about, that we can't stop this from happening or start that to be happening. But the thing that we want to keep in mind is that we humans always have had, always will, and certainly do now, we possess the freedom to assess what is going on right now in life as being something good or something bad. That choice is always ours. God has given us that choice. And certainly in the continuing passage of time as we go through life, things can and most likely will occur that are not quite the way that you would choose them to be. You'd rather have it here, but it ends up over there. And that's going to occur in our lives. Not everything is always going to be exactly where we would have wanted it to be, where we would have chosen it to be. So this occasion, when that does occur, where things are not the way we want them to be, that gives us the opportunity of, once again, as humans, to be upset about it, to be distressed, to be anxious, depressed in our lives, to have that negative reaction to what's going on because it's here instead of there where we have wanted it to be. So that's what we're going to talk about here tonight, is how we can change our mindset so that when these things do occur, we can look to find a way to get around being anxious, stressed, depressed by them. And there's reasons why we would want to have that mindset, and good, valid reasons for having it. The things that we said like are going to occur that might be negative for us individually or for us as humans can certainly rise up and be there for us. You can lose a loved one. We often do in our lives. For someone that we loved, we admired, we cherished, has suddenly transitioned. A car accident, you're driving along and suddenly crash, someone bangs into you or you bang into something. You can go through an earthquake, a hurricane where things are completely disrupted. Wildfires happen here in California a lot. These things can all occur, which now give us that choice of having this be a terrible thing and be depressed, be upset, be sad, or find a way to look at some other perspective that might help us all do a little bit better. And again, that's what we're talking about here. Obviously, when those things occur that I just mentioned, earthquakes and tornadoes and fires and losing loved ones, there's going to be a moment in your life where you have to stop where you were and just reflect on that. Certainly, in the case of losing a loved one, there's just no way to avoid having that feel like some part of a tragic situation in your life, that they have transitioned and now your life is now absent of someone who you felt was important, valid there in your life. But like I said, that's what I want to talk about tonight, because these things are going to occur in your life. There's no way to live in this world, in this universe, and not have some aspect of what's happening be against what you would choose it to be. And as I mentioned before, I always like to take a very analytical perspective on life. Look at what's happening and just measure it up, see what the numbers would provide, what logic would mean, what common sense would dictate. So what this analytical approach tells me that, and what we should all keep this in mind, when these emotional setbacks occur that are allowing us to have that stress, that upset, depression, we have to keep in mind, this is the absolute, that emotional reaction we've had to this, that stress, that sadness, that disappointment, will do nothing to alter that situation. So there again, you see, you're being stressed out, you're being upset, you're being distressed by a situation over which you have no immediate control. It's there. It's what's happening. It's your choice to take that negative approach or feeling towards what's going on. And you can choose to look at it a different way at any given time. The cliche that I'm going to draw on here, and we've all heard it, it is what it is. And when these things occur, that's a good thing to go to. Hey, it is what it is. Here is what's happening in the universe, in life right now. So how we react to it, like I mentioned, is up to us. So when an aspect of our lives does occur, we should always see that as being something that we might feel is setting us back. But everything that occurs on any given moment of life is a continuing evolution of life in this universe. It's all moving forward. This entire universe as a group is moving forward at any given time. Now, we in our teaching, that is Science of Mind, we refer to the oneness of God, the infinite nature of there being one God that is behind and the source of everything that is happening at any given time. So once again, keep in mind that this may not be the thing that you would choose, but God is advancing the universe for its betterment, its overall betterment. Something is occurring somewhere that is benefiting from this exact same situation that has caused you to have a negative reaction to what it is. So once again, we'll always be better off in our minds if we see a positive element, a positive aspect to what is happening in life, than if we take that negative attitude and look at it as being a curse, something that's holding us back, setting us back. A good example that I've referenced before is the wildfires, which are now going on up north up above Sacramento, and they're really burning a lot of this state, taking down a lot of nature and certainly impacting a lot of humans that have had to evacuate and leave their houses. A lot of houses are being destroyed by it. Now, it's hard to be a human and not look at that as being somewhat of a negative thing that we're dealing with. And that, once again, can cause us to be depressed, sullen, upset about the fact that we are in the middle of this. This is happening. It's going against us. However, and this is where I love to go to Yosemite National Forest and see nature, which is there in its fullness and its excellence. And a few years ago, there was a forest fire that went through part of Yosemite National Park. And it certainly was, at that point, a negative impact for anyone who was there. They closed off the roads and everything for going into the park. But when we went back to the park, it was about just 3 or 4 months later, you could already see that where that fire had taken place was now being reborn. New plants were growing. New trees were coming up. Things were redeveloping. And it gave me that realization that, hey, a fire that takes place that has a negative impact on us humans is actually going to provide a positive impact for a lot of aspects of nature. And as we talk about in our teaching, if you look at all of life and everything in the universe as coming from one source, which we call God, the infinite nature of God creating all that is, then you have to keep in mind that God has to watch out for every single aspect of the universe at any given moment. Now, we humans are part of that. We can all be confident that God is there for us, but knowing that God is also there for the rest of nature, for the plants, for the other animals, it might do those good to have that fire come place. It certainly is, like I said about Yosemite, it certainly gave rebirth to a huge area in Yosemite National Park. And now it's as beautiful as you could imagine. It wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for that fire that occurred a few years ago. And the same thing with these fires up north. It's taking a lot of things out. It's going to destroy a lot of lives one way or the other, and humans that live there. But eventually it is going to help the rebirth of nature and for all of that area to evolve more positively. So God is providing this one source of evolution for everyone and everything, and what might have a negative impact on some is going to have a positive impact on others. And this is what I'm trying to want to bring forth as the message for tonight. That knowing that there's one source, and knowing that that one source is evolving the universe in a positive manner of everything, of every aspect of it, we humans can sometimes be in the way of that. So things can happen in our lives which are not what we would choose, but rather than look at this as being a terrible curse, oh, the worst thing that could possibly happen, oh, I'll never get past this, look at this as being a positive alteration in some other aspect. Yes, it's holding you back, but there's something else that's going to do better, something else that's going to grow stronger, be more better evolved than where it was. This is the alternation of the universe on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. It's evolving everything in a positive manner, and sometimes we are not that thing that's being positively involved, and we just have to keep in mind that there is something good happening regardless of how we feel or how it does at any given time impact us. If you're at home and you decide to replace the frying pan in your kitchen because the one's gotten mixed up and everything. So you evolve to a new frying pan, and let's say you give your frying pan to the Goodwill, someone else gets it and they don't take care of it and they destroy it. Now that frying pan you would see has suffered as a result of you evolving to a new one. But it has, at the same time that it has gone in a negative way, you have gone in a positive way with it. And so this is the way everything happens everywhere. What's ever negatively affecting you, by your assessment, it's positively affecting someone, somewhere, something else in this universe. And so when like I said, when we may assess these things as bad in our lives, just know that at the same time, the event is opening up an opportunity for someone, somewhere, even if we don't ever personally become aware of where that positive aspect came up. We may never even know about it, but just be confident that, yeah, this is happening to me right now because it is advancing someone, something else in this universe. And you can then say, thank you, God, for that advance. And once again, this is where I really wanted to focus on this talk tonight. The big aspect, taking that negative aspect or the negative assessment of what life is going on doesn't do anything to change the immediacy. And neither does taking a positive aspect. It won't change the immediacy. Here's the big difference, the impact on you personally. When you allow yourself to be stressed, upset, depressed, sad, melancholy about life, it is affecting negatively your health situation. It's bringing a negative impact on your brain. A negative impact on your brain is going to have a negative impact on your overall health. Whereas taking that other approach of, hey, this is not what I would want, but I know it's helping someone else. I know God is advancing somewhere, something else in the universe. Taking that positive aspect and knowing that this is good for all the world and everything else, will now give you a more positive mindset. That's going to help your brain health. It'll help everything reconnect, and a healthier brain leads to a healthier physical life as well. Because if you have that healthy brain, it makes you feel better about life. When you feel better about life, you start to look a little bit more at your health situation, what you're eating, how you're exercising, what are you doing to stay healthy? And you want to stay healthy because you see life as being a positive thing that you're in. And why not keep it going as well as you can for as long as you can? So that's the whole idea about what's happening now. Another thing that we humans can get upset about is something that happened in the past. It's hard to look at, and I'm be 76 in October. It's hard to look back on 75 years of life here and not see some things. Oh gosh, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd have done this. Have those thoughts and thereby allow my imagination to suggest that here's the way things would be instead of the way they are. But once again, an analytical approach on that lets you know that however you look at the past has zero impact on what occurred at any given time. It's just looking back, and we can imagine where things would be other than where they are, but that's just imagination. There's no absolute on that. In an infinite universe, which we're in, the options to what is exactly happening right now, right here, is infinite. It could be anything, anywhere. Any possibility is there other than what's right here, right now. So with this in mind, when you look back at something you did and wish you'd have done this instead of that because you'd be over here instead of over there, that's simply imagination. There's no absolute on that. The only absolute is, had anything happened differently than the way it did happen, you would not be here right now. This is the only, everything had to happen the way it happened, as it happened, in the entire unfolding of the entire, in order for life to be the way it is now. So once again, if you can look at life as being a positive thing, this is nice. Something good is going on. Something good is happening everywhere. I am happy to be here. If you take that attitude, then that means that everything you did throughout the entire history of your life was done to get you here and to be part of that goodness. It all occurred. It all made this a positive place to be and a positive mindset to have for being here. So this is an important aspect of us as humans, to not look back on where we were or what we did some part of our life and just be convinced that we would be here instead of there, because there's never an absolute on what's going on right now except what is going on right now. And this same thing talks about, applies to looking at the future. Again, it's a human thing. I call it the human dichotomy. You can look at the future and go, hey, that's going to be great. And then you can also say, oh, wait, if that doesn't happen, it's going to be terrible. You can have that assessment to the future as well. But once again, keep in mind, you have no immediate impact on what's going to happen next in the universe, although you can impact what's going to happen next in your life. And if you take that positive assessment of life as it is and where it's going, then you're going to have a much better chance of seeing that unfold, of those positive things unfold for yourself in your life. And once again, that more positive mindset is going to help your brain health, that'll help your overall health, and make you a happier, healthier person to be here. And like I said, the infinite nature of the universe means that anything could happen next. There's no way to be have a positive, an absolute assessment on what's going to happen next. It's completely open up to where God is taking it. So we might as well have that mindset of, hey, I know what's going to happen next is going to be good for me. And this brings me back to our Reverend Betty Ann Brennan, who sadly made her transition a few months ago, but left us with this affirmation, this quote, which is so valid in your life. My life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. And this gives you that mindset that takes you forward with the idea that whatever is going to happen is going to be something that will be a positive impact to your life. It's going to help you with what's going on. in some way, again, that's no matter what, means that regardless of what's happening, there is some aspect of what's going on right now that is there contributing to your life. If you keep that in your mind, then once again, helps the brain health, helps the physical health, and has a much more potential opportunity to bring that goodness into your life than having that negative mindset about what might happen. And we talk about this a lot. We know that we as human individuals in this universe do have an impact on what's going on. We're all one with God. As we communicate through our conscious and even through our unconsciousness, there's a message going out into the universe. And I've again been analytical physically because we are putting out our nervous system, our brain is putting out actual electrodes into the universe, and electromagnetic energy has an impact on the energy of the world. Oops, Watson's saying something here in the back. Sorry about that. But so we are adding to the positive perspective of what is going to occur in our lives, keeping ourselves healthier, and at the same time allowing that to be there and part of whatever is the transformation that's coming up next. So that's the whole idea of what I'm talking about tonight. Having a positive mindset towards what has occurred, what's happening now, what's going to occur, makes it that much more potential for things to happen the way you want to, including dogs barking, as well as helping your brain health, which helps your overall health. So this is why I'm giving this lesson tonight. I hope that you can all see that that's the way it happens. What did I say here? Oh, having confidence in the future, that the future will bring you happiness and goodness, again, doesn't have an immediate effect, but it makes you healthier and happier to be here now, which is where we all are at any given time. So with that idea in mind, that a positive mindset is something that we can always choose to have regardless of what's happening in our lives. You can always look for what's happening that is good rather than bad. Do that, keep it there, and you're going to go through life much better off than otherwise. So I'm going to close with a spiritual mind treatment to take us all out of here. And so with that in mind, please, as I say these words in the first person, please make them your own. For I know that right here, right now, in this singular moment of the internal evolution of time and space, that there is one source to all that is, all that was, and all that will be. We call that source God. There is one infinite God, infinite in nature, infinite in power, and showing infinite love for life everywhere and everything. As it applies to us, we'll have to see. But as it applies to all of life, we know it's there. And knowing it's there, we know that our lives are being exactly as they should be for the benefit of everyone and everything. And as I go forward in my life, motivated primarily by love, adding to that kindness and compassion, generosity, sharing, and caring, I know that these same aspects will come back to me in every way. And I release these words to the oneness of God, thanking God for the ability and the awareness of how life does unfold, and knowing that with the infinite nature that God represents, it's easy to take care of the details to make life good for me while I continue to find ways to enjoy living here now. And so it is. And so it is. That concludes my little bit of a lesson for tonight about how we should stay positive about life, regardless of what's going on. As Betty Ann says, our life's unfolding perfectly no matter what. Keep that in mind. Keep that affirmation always with you, and you're going to do better in your life, and things are going to be better for you in every aspect. So that ends the lesson for tonight. I hope it was a good message for all of you. And so once again, as I say goodnight, August is here. Find a reason to cheer. And so it is. Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully you can attend live at our center lesson at the Center for Spiritual Living Pleasant Valley. You can find the address here on the Facebook, also on our website. We're meeting there live at 10:30 in the morning, and it's also going to be coming out on Facebook Live for you to enjoy the lesson, I'll be joining the discussion with Reverend Pam Gagan. So there'll be two of us talking about similar aspects of life as we do the Sunday lesson. So hopefully we can see you there. Thanks for being here tonight, and have a wonderful evening.